All right, so this is question number 24 of the main conclusion set. A doctor says the practice of using this therapy to treat the illness. So we've got the practice, all this extra fluff. The practice cannot be adequately supported by the claim. And what is that claim? That any therapy for treating the illness is more effective than no therapy at all. So they're saying our claim is that any therapy is more effective than no therapy. And so this claim is cannot adequately support the practice. And then they say what must also be taken into account. So it seems like that claim is, it's not adequately supported because it's missing something. What also must be taken into account is that this therapy is expensive and complicated. Okay, so we have the practice cannot be adequately supported by the claim. What must also be taken into account is blank. Okay, so basically the doctor is saying this claim is not robust enough. You're missing something that you must take into account here. So we're wondering what most accurately expresses the main point. And what we want to remember is what is supported and what is doing the supporting. Our wrong answer choices may be completely true in the argument. They might be present, but they might be a premise. We also may have wrong answer choices that have nothing to do with anything. So let's kind of read really carefully. A, the therapy is more effective than no treatment at all for the illness. So this is relating to this part of the argument that says any therapy is more effective than no therapy at all, right? So that's not the main point because it's doing the supporting. They're explaining what the claim is. Theoretically, we could just, cross all this out. Let me use a different color. If we were to just kind of erase everything that's going on here and take this down to the very basic, simple sentence. The practice, okay, hold on. I'm missing my pen. So our practice cannot be adequately supported by the claim. They explain the claim, so you need that in order to understand what the claim is. It's not doing the supporting. And then they say what must also be taken into account is blank. So because we've got a claim being explained, that's what A is. A is the claim. Actually, let me not circle that. We're just gonna put that up here. That's our claim. Explaining the claim helps us to establish why the practice cannot be adequately supported. So this is not the main point, because they also go in and talk about what must be taken into account. This is not going to be our answer because it's doing some supporting. It's not ultimately supported. It's not our conclusion. B, the therapy is more effective than other forms of treatment for the illness. So the doctor, is trying to say that the practice cannot be adequately supported. Here's what's missing. We don't really have anything saying that therapy is more effective. So this is an answer choice that is irrelevant. And we don't talk about other forms of treatment other than therapy. C, the therapy is more expensive and complicated than other forms of treatment for the illness. So we do know that therapy is expensive and complicated. We don't know if it's more expensive and complicated, but it looks like they're trying to relate back to this part here. What must be taken into account? So that's doing part of the supporting. We don't really care what must be taken into account for our purposes, for our short, simple sentence. We just know that, what must be taken into account. That's the reason why the practice cannot be adequately supported by the claim. That's what's missing from our reasoning. That's what the doctor is saying. So we can eliminate C because C, the existence of C, even if more is accurate, is doing the supporting. It's not being supported. We also know that there's just no evidence for more expensive and more complicated in this passage or in this stimulus. D, the therapy should not be used to treat the illness unless it is either effective or inexpensive. So now this is a question or an answer choice where there's a recommendation. There's an opinion here, but the only opinion that the doctor has is that the practice cannot be adequately supported by the claim. We don't really care about stuff being effective or inexpensive. And this is something that would probably appeal to a lot of people because, based off of the things that must be taken into account, we could assume that that's where the doctor is talking in making a different, argument. But based off of what is just on the page here, we're looking for something that says the practice cannot be adequately supported by the claim. I need that on a t-shirt, I think. So we're not going to go with D because D is not being supported. It's not doing any supporting. It's completely irrelevant. So it leaves us with E. And so if you were super confident in your ability to eliminate answers, you would go with E on the test and just keep going on. But let's kind of look at why E is correct. The therapy's possible effectiveness in treating the illness is not sufficient justification for using it. Well, would you look at that? That's exactly what's going on here up in our conclusion. Oh, that was a gross arrow. Let me try again. Maybe I'll just give it a new color. We'll give it some orange. Those complementary colors going on. We love it. They're saying the practice cannot be adequately supported by the claim. That also means there's not sufficient justification for talking about therapy's effectiveness, right? So they're just saying that basically the same thing. And this restatement of that first sentence gets justified by the rest of the sentence up there. So we can go with E as our final answer. And look at that. Like we're feeling really good about this one.